Yo, boss, are you digging the Modern Rogue? You can support us directly at shop.themodernrogue.com. 3 awesome t-shirt designs, Silverton, Vanguard, and Amendment 21 await you. Any tank of pressurized gas in any cargo warehouse ever.
A red box with TNT on it.
Yes, glowing barrels with glowing stuff, either yellow or red.
Always red. Anything red.
Cars, anytime you shoot a car.
Cars always blow up.
Yeah.
They're very explosive. I don't even know how people drive them without dying.
You know what? As I'm discussing this, it makes me glad that we live in real world, not video game world. Otherwise, everything explodes always.
The Modern Rogue explodes propane tanks by shooting them.
Holy cow, dude, it's happening. We're here at Stunt Ranch with StuntScience.tv's Steve Wolf, because we're gonna get to live a fantasy, man.
I have always wanted to shoot something and blow up the bad guys.
Yeah.
Just a massive explosion from a single bullet.
Yeah, don't tell me there's no Santa Claus yet, but tell me under the right conditions, does Santa Claus maybe look real?
Under the right conditions, you absolutely can shoot something and cause that to lead to an explosion.
Okay, so now in the video games, you got like the propane tank that you beat people up with and then you shoot it to explode. Is this just wild fantasy or not?
Don't break my heart.
Okay, as an impact tool, a propane tank absolutely works just as well.
That's good enough.
I can verify that.
Okay, good.
And then propane is, of course, a highly flammable gas, which when mixed with oxygen in the right circumstance, will burn or detonate.
So I do fire eating, and normally I use Coleman camp fuel, a liquid that's liquid at room temperatures.
Right.
But oftentimes I'll show up and people will buy the wrong stuff from me. They'll have propane. I know propane comes out as a gas, but when I shake it, it sounds like there's liquid in there.
Right.
Is that just when it's pressurized?
So there is a liquid, but only when the molecules are being squeezed together under a lot of pressure. As soon as you release the pressure, they turn instantly into a gas.
Got it. And so the gas in there, I assume, is not an oxygen fuel mixture already. It has to mix with the oxygen outside?
Straight propane inside.
Okay.
So depending on what type of a fuel-air ratio you get, you'll get different colored flame. So when you watch the flame on your stove and it's blue, that's because oxygen's been added into it before the chemical reaction of creating flame. But when you light up a blowtorch, you might see yellow flame because the propane is having to scavenge for oxygen from the air.
You know what? I noticed
to create that yellow effect.
That was an old trick that if you had a propane torch, when you had it full going, it was that clear blue jet.
Right.
But if you covered up the oxygen holes,
Yep.
it does this kind of nice candlelit
That's
yellow.
right. So when you cover up the air intake, you get a less efficient flame. So the less efficient flame is actually creating more free carbon particles. And because those carbon particles are hot, they glow red and yellow. That's where that color comes from.
Got it.
It's the glowing loose carbon in the flame.
So with the appropriate tools, we could create explosive flames of any color?
Of any color, yeah. Well, of a wide range of colors. So depending on what additives we put into the fuel, you can create blue, yellow, green, red, purple. Fuchsia,
aquamarine,
mauve, and
taupe.
Taupe. I'm still working on the taupe. I've got puce down though.
All right, so today we got a whole bunch of propane canisters and we're gonna shoot them with what kind of guns?
Well, we're gonna shoot them with a few different guns to see if the gun is the deciding factor. So in science, you change one variable at a time.
That's right.
So we're gonna use the same propane canister each time, a 1-pound camping cylinder. And I like the wider ones rather than the taller ones just because it's easier to get them to stand up.
And you can get these
you
anywhere.
get a little bit wider, you can get them at any retail store.
Yes, let's go
See if
shoot
that's
these
the
things.
factor.
Super exciting.
All right.
This is some heavy duty gear, Steve. What are we looking at?
Well, we're looking at a few of the types of guns that you might see in your average video game. We have a 12-gauge shotgun, we have a 300 blackout AR, we have a small concealable 9mm, we have a typical carry size 45, and we have a 357 Magnum. Between those, we should be pretty well able to see conclusively, does shooting at this stuff blow it up?
You gave a lot of numbers. Can you basically break down the general differences?
Sure, well, basically a gun is nothing more than a drill with a really long bit. So people think because of the noise that guns have all kinds of power, but really all they do is they give you the ability to make a hole in something far away. The diameter of the bullet is equivalent to, the size of the drill bit. Are we making a 5/8 inch hole? Are we making a 22 caliber hole?
I've been going to the wrong Home Depot.
Right? So when we talk about things in caliber, 45 caliber, 40 caliber, 38 caliber. Caliber means hundredths of an inch. So that's just 45 caliber means 45 hundredths of an inch, or basically a 1/2 inch hole.
Okay.
22 caliber means, you know, 2/10 of an
How
inch.
have I gone my whole life without ever hearing this fact? I was like, I guess caliber is its own thing.
Maybe you grew up in Europe and it was metric,
Oh,
you know,
right.
so 9mm would be the equivalent of 30 caliber.
Fair enough, fair enough.
All right, so.
So I'm going to assume that we're going to expect to see different size holes, but are we also going to see different types of exit wounds, or will there even be an exit wound?
There'll absolutely be an exit wound because every bullet that goes into a propane can is going to come out the back.
Okay.
It doesn't have enough mass or strength to withstand a bullet coming through both sides. You might see a difference though in the number of holes. When we shoot it with a shotgun, we're going to create multiple holes at the same time.
So the video game logic theory is hole goes in, but at that time, either it creates enough heat with friction or creates a spark to ignite it, right?
That is the theory.
Okay, we'll find out.
We'll find out. Yeah.
I'm not very optimistic.
Yeah,
Don't say, la 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 la.
there you go.
Okay, and then there's different types of ammunition, because you mentioned we were going to play with tracer rounds as well.
Yeah, so our best likelihood of getting ignition is if we start with something that's already burning.
Is that how those work? That they're actually burning?
Yes.
Am I right in remembering? I thought I heard that tracer rounds they did like every 5th round just so you could get a general idea, or do you do every round?
Well, if you have a box with nothing but tracer rounds in it, then every round is tracer.
Okay.
But typically in a machine gun, it'd be every 3rd round or every 5th round, just to kind of keep you in the ballpark as a substitute for aiming.
Got it.
So there's not a substitute for aiming.
Got it.
How do those work exactly?
So at the back of the bullet itself, there's a little chunk of magnesium or phosphorus.
Okay.
And it's ignited by the gunpowder reaction. So what happens is when you hit a gun, there's just a little piece of metal in there that pops out and hits the back of the primer. And the primer is full of a shock-sensitive chemical called lead azide. When you crush lead azide, it blows up. When that blows up, it pushes fire into the main area of the cartridge here where there's gunpowder. And that lights the gunpowder. The gunpowder is a solid where all the molecules are close together, and they turn through a chemical reaction into a gas where the molecules are spread apart. So now you have all these gaseous molecules spreading in all directions, creating a tremendous amount of pressure, and then that pressure acts against the back of the bullet to push the bullet out. So really, in a sense, all guns are air guns. The question is whether the gas came from a chemical reaction or came from pumping your Red Ryder.
Gotcha.
But they all are just pushed out by gases.
Since we learned a bit ago about the importance of flashpoints of various substances, it seems like this one's definitely going to be hot enough that at room temperature, it should be able to ignite the propane. My only question is, if let's say it goes through, you have that decompression, it's going to get cold, right? Just the same way that when you let all the pressure out of a can of air, it
That's
gets
right.
cold.
Yep, it's a matter of which happens first.
Correct.
Right, whether we get enough temperature with enough propane that's mixing with oxygen all at the same time, and that ignition point happens right when we need it and has sufficient heat to start the reaction or not.
Bullets are already super hot when they come out of the barrel. These are even hotter.
Well, these have got a piece of burning phosphorus at the back. And it's just burning at the back because that's the angle that you see your bullet from when you shoot it. You're looking at the back of it.
So
if you shoot a lot, though, you actually can develop a sensitivity where you can actually see your bullets.
So these aren't necessarily used to ignite things, they're used so that you can see your rounds.
That's what they're for. They're not incendiary rounds, whose purpose would be to start a fire.
Okay.
These are simply so that you can see your bullet more easily.
Gotcha.
But it will be burning all the way up to the point of impact and beyond.
Right.
Okay, so I don't know, that makes me optimistic. I want to believe.
Certainly at the range we're testing it.
Right.
If we shot this at 45-degree angle, it would go up and it would
Burn
arc for a
itself
mile
out.
and a half. I'm sure it would be out before it landed.
Okay,
But-
science, science, science. Let's shoot stuff.
Yeah, right. Okay.
All right, Steve, what are we starting with?
Gentlemen, we're going to start with a Smith & Wesson 357, perfect for personal protection.
All right, and so we have no doubt this is going to penetrate. So it's a question of whether or not it's hot enough to set it off, right?
Right, we're going through and through.
It looks like a very aggressive propane tank, so I think we need to put it down.
All right, fire in the hole! Fire in the hole! Firing in 3, 2, 1.
Wow! 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 That was, that thing was a damned rocket.
Took off, but no fireball.
Yes, but I do feel like that would scare away all the bad guys.
It might.
Oh, that was so satisfying.
I didn't expect that.
It went higher than a rocket. It was amazing.
It was tethered and everything. So I thought it was gonna stay put right there.
Yeah,
Not
well,
so much.
You could have, you know, hundreds and hundreds of PSI in there, which creates quite the
Yeah.
rocket effect.
Holy cow.
So we have a nice clean entry, we have a nice messy exit the way you hope for, and as you may be surprised because it's propane, but this tank is frozen. You can actually see condensation forming on here.
Feel that.
Oh,
Yeah,
So if nothing else,
at
this
that.
is a good way to
Wow.
cool a drink in the summer.
It's a way to cool a drink. I don't know that it's gonna be my favorite.
You smell that smell coming out of that?
but not the fiery conflagration that we were hoping for.
No, not at all.
Plenty of explosive force though, wow.
So this time we're going with a 12 gauge shotgun.
All right, see that to me is code for it will disintegrate and send shrapnel everywhere.
I feel better that we have something.
blast shield.
In fact, I've always wanted a blast shield.
Well, dreams do come true. All right, take it away, boss.
All right, coming up, 12 gauge shotgun. Fire in the hole in 3, 2, 1.
Wow! Wow!
Can we stand?
Yeah, can I see it?
I'll bring it out to you.
Man, that smell, that propane smell just everywhere.
Well, it looks like the aim was okay.
Look at that! Oh my gosh! So this is exactly, oh, the pellets are in there. So weirdly, like this one didn't rocket because it had such a big exit hole.
Yeah, it had
it was
a-
all able to just pour out.
Right, and we had more weights on it.
Yeah, we had it secured a little bit more so it didn't fly around, but it totally would have. But again, not the eruption of flame that we were looking for.
But yes to the explosive force. I would say video games have the right of it. It does explode out. It's just
Absolutely.
not on fire when it does.
Right, and a lot more of the gas stayed close because you had more holes for it to escape from. So
Oh, yeah.
less escape velocity on each hole.
So we know for sure that just shooting it just does nothing but poke a hole in it. I want to know if the incendiary round is enough to actually trigger it to actually fireball.
Only one way to find out.
I agree.
All right. All right, this time we're gonna try a 9mm tracer.
I believe in Santa Claus. I believe in miracles. I believe this is gonna work. Please work.
Let's see what happens. Fire in the hole! Fire in the hole! 3, 2, 1.
Whoa! Wow! I'm glad we had the blast shield.
So thankful.
Me too. I'm glad it stayed tethered too.
Yeah, it did. I can't believe it didn't ignite. I guess it's just too cold on that initial ignition.
Just not enough heat. At the moment when you have the most heat, right, is the friction that's created as the bullet hits the outside, right? That's when the bullet has the most speed. And at that point, all the gas is on the inside and all the air is on the outside. So at the moment when you have that spark, you don't have
Any
combined
oxygen.
fuel and oxygen.
Right.
So what you really need is for your ignition source to be outside and for the fuel and oxygen mix to get to it, not for just the fuel to get to it.
If we were gonna simulate something that would be in a video game, let's say a puddle of gasoline is burning and then you shot it in there, or if there was some kind of other sparking thing, like an
Right.
electrical fire or something nearby.
Right, because then you've got the fuel and the oxygen. You need to have fuel, oxygen, heat, and a chemical reaction. All three of those. The way any one of those things, you don't have fire.
Seems like we have the technology.
I think we can make this happen though, right?
I believe we may be able to do something like
All right,
it.
let's do this. Let's do this.
All right, so the game plan is based on the idea that in order for this propane to ignite when it's shot, it has to escape towards a heat source. And we're gonna use a few sparklers burning right underneath it as the heat source. So when the propane comes out, we're hoping that it's gonna mix with the oxygen, find the heat source, start the chemical reaction, create the huge
Now
fireball.
for the, when we used the shotgun, we got that nice exploded back
Yeah,
where it
I think
released
that was
very
your
quickly.
best bet. The least likely to be a flamethrower shooting
Or
towards
becoming
us.
a rocket towards
yeah,
us. Yeah.
right, a flaming rocket, no less.
Jeez.
I've
All
seen
right.
that too.
Fingers crossed.
I know. Hopefully you'll get to see that.
Get
right?
ready for sprint position.
Yeah.
What's your prediction?
I think it'll be a reasonably contained fire, like within the little alcove, right?
I think it's going to be like a grenade, just pop. It'll be much louder than you expect.
Oh, I was thinking just like, and then it was done. A flurry of spouting flame, and then it's over.
I sincerely don't think you're prepared. I'm so
Yeah?
excited. Yeah. All right.
All right, gentlemen, there's just one question left. Do you feel lucky?
I feel terrified is
Well,
how I
do
feel.
ya,
Ready,
punk?
sir.
All right.
I'm ready.
All right, fire in the hole.
Dude, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. Like, this is already terrifying.
All right.
And nothing's happened yet.
So we've got ignition sources all around. Fire in the hole. 3, 2, 1.
Wow! Wow! Wow!
Metal.
That was amazing!
Yes!
That was incredible!
Good job, gentlemen.
Oh,
That paid off in every possible way. That was awesome.
very cool.
Oh. Yeah, you weren't kidding about the flying
Right.
rockets landing all around you.
Yep, it's just experience that tells me like where the people should be and where the shields should be.
Sure.
Otherwise it would be dangerous. I'm gonna bring this thing over here.
Yeah.
There we go. So it just finished burning out.
It's not as hot as you would
No.
expect. I assume it got cold and then real hot again.
Yeah, it did both.
It actually only feels about as hot as it would be if it was sitting out in the sun all day,
And
right?
strangely, it's not all destroyed.
It was amazing because you saw it decompress, and then you saw the fireball all happen at once. Okay, so now that's a full-on success. That's a video game scenario. Shoot one of these near an existing flame, and it really does blow up enough to kill the bad guys. But the one thing we have not seen is that awesome chain reaction barrel explosion thing.
Yeah, I think we can hook that up for you Hollywood style.
Yes.
So when we want a guaranteed fire and we want to control exactly how much fire, how much smoke, the whole picture, we tend to go more towards gasoline. Gives you a much more colorful fire because it's a more inefficient burn. More carbon, more soot, more red, more yellow, more excitement.
Awesome.
Let's do it.
Let's get started.
All right.
The gasoline is lit. He's lighting the sparklers now.
This is really happening.
Yeah.
All right, dude, you're about to fight the end boss in a junk heap. You see, between all the fires, I do ears, man. I think it's coming.
Yep, it's time.
Okay, fire in the hole. Action in 3, 2, 1,
Wow!
1.
Wow! Did you feel that blast of heat? It felt like just a lightning flash. Woo! That was
Wow.
incredible. Dude, everything is on fire.
My world is fire and blood.
That was extraordinary. That delivered on every dared hope and expectation.
Now, every modern rogue has to end with an explosion.
Hey, Steve,
Yeah?
that was a great run through. We'll do it running
Okay,
this
great.
time.
This time we're rolling this time, all right?
Holy cow, look
It's
at
hot.
that. Ooh, it is hot. Who would have thought, right?
Yep.
Dude, nice shot, by the way. It's
Thank
almost
you.
like you know what you're doing.
We could feel the heat wave from back
I
here.
watched it on a YouTube.
It really was, man. It was like this flash, this wave of just hitting you all at once.
Yeah.
I'm glad you had us move back. That was intense.
Even though I was ready, I wasn't ready.
Okay, so as far as what we care about, does video game barrel explosions work?
Kind of.
Answers, under the right conditions.
Right. Let's say you had an electric drill next to it, spinning, or a motorized pump, and there was a spark in there.
And that you
conceivably,
you
yes.
very patiently asked all of the bad guys, like, hold on, we're not ready. Safety, people, come on. All right, everybody gather around the barrel and fire in the hole. Fire in the hole.
Right.
I like to think of video game bad guys going, don't stand next to the red barrel, somebody will shoot it and explode. Actually, I watched the
saw a
Modern
YouTube
Rogue
Good
video.
advice, right?
Dude, Steve Wolf, cannot thank you enough.
My
We could
pleasure.
get so much more at stuntscience.tv, right?
Absolutely, Brian.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Steve.
Jason. Great working with
Great.
you guys. I know this looks like hard work, but this is my job.
Oh, I know, yeah, respect. Stop having so much fun.
Yeah.